Alright, so I came in the garage one day to find that the garage was full of water in the corner here, and I traced it to the water heater and traced it actually to this nipple fitting right here on the cold line is where the water's coming out. What happens with these things, if you don't maintain them, which I don't because I'm lazy and I forget, I need to be better about that. Sometimes they get hot, they expand, and it creates a lot of pressure, and you have to relieve. There's a relief valve here. This will relieve the pressure. Once a year, to maintain these things, you should drain them, relieve, hit the relief valve, test it out, make sure it's not leaking. Turn everything off, turn the water off, turn the power off, flush it out, and then let it refill again. But I haven't been doing that. Like I said, I'm lazy. Last year when this happened, this hose blew. The cold water line sprung a leak, and when that happens, water just shoots out of here. It just gushes out, and you know right away where it's coming from. It's not happening this time. This time it's pooling right here inside of this, coming out of where this fitting comes out of. So I know the fitting is bad. You can tell it's like real gunky in there. So I know exactly what it is. If you see, this is the hot line. This one I didn't replace. This was the old type of tubing, which is probably not as good quality as this one that I bought. So I'm starting to think maybe it's a better idea to have the lower quality tubes, because when it breaks, this would be the first thing to go, which is an easier replacement than having to replace the nipple. Well, I don't know. They're probably about the same to do. Well, this is the first time I'll be replacing this. So the steps I'm going to take is I'm going to turn the power off right here. I'm going to turn off the water, the cold water inlet, right, which I already did. And then I'm going to drain it. I don't know if that's absolutely necessary to be done, but since I haven't been maintaining it, those are the steps you need to do to maintain it. It should be done once a year if you're a good homeowner, unlike me. So yeah, we're going to drain it now. We're going to flush it. We're going to fill it with new water. We're going to replace this fitting. Make sure that's nice and closed. Still a little bit of water coming out of there, even though I have it pretty tight. Flip this up. So what's good about these type of hose, they stick pretty good. Alright, so now we're going to have to remove this. Gonna need two hands for this, so I'll put the phone down. What I'm going to need for this project, so the part I bought Home Depot, this was about 13 bucks. These are the replacement heat trap nipples, and you're gonna need I had to buy a heavy duty pipe wrench to take that thing off, because it's on there. I tried to take it off with these pipe pliers, with a crescent wrench, and or vice grips. Could not take it off. It's just on there too tight. So we're gonna try to do it with this pipe pliers that I bought. This pipe wrench. 18-inch, the leverage is going to come in handy on that. This was about 29 bucks at Home Depot as well. So we're going to go ahead and try and take this off right now. Okay, so I tightened the wrench on there. It's pretty tight. I got a real good leverage here. It's about as good as 29 bucks can get you. And I'm going to see just real quick with the camera, just to give you an idea. That is just not budging, so I'm going to have to put the camera down. It's actually moving the whole tank. The tank is empty because I drained it first just to be on the safe side. So what I'm going to have to do is put some body weight in the opposite direction while I move this forward. I may have to bang it with a hammer, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so I managed to get this thing finally loose, and the plumbers out there, and I'm not a plumber, the plumbers out there will probably cringe that I destroyed and bent the hell out of this this nipple here, but there was really no way to get this thing off based on the tools that I had. I saw something online where somebody used they used a big socket and a 3/4 inch drive to shake that loose, and drilling a hole, and that gave me an idea that you might find handy. I drilled a hole through it, starting with a small hole, and worked my way up. And I stuck an Allen key wrench in there to give it something to pry against. And then I used the pipe wrench so that it wouldn't slip off. And to help make sure I was actually making progress, because it took a while and a lot of elbow grease. But I marked it here, so I knew it moved. Because the first time you budge it, it'll move a little bit, and you won't even know. You won't know if it actually moved or if the wrench slipped. So now it should be loose enough where with these pliers it should be able to move it. Let's see. 2 hands for this. Get this the right size. There we go. So now I can get that off. So the next step is to inspect. There's a dipstick in here that I have to inspect to make sure that that's good and doesn't need to be replaced. And so we'll start the video again once I get it out. Okay, so I decided, in the interest of time and because it was so bloody hard to take this one off, I decided not to do both of them. This one seems to be fine for now. So I'm just going to do the one. I'm going to do the cold line, and it's you can see here that it's the cold one is blue, and it has an arrow pointing in the direction of the water flow, so it's going to be installed like that. We're going to coat the bottom threads with True Blue pipe thread sealant, and we're going to use just normal thread tape for the top part. Okay, put the True Blue on top of the tape, so I put the tape first just to give it even better, tighter seal. So we'll just thread that on. Okay, so we tighten that up with the pipe wrench. Nice and snug, trying not to over tighten it. So you can see this one's a little taller than the original one, but that should be okay. So that'll have to dry before I fill it up with water, probably about 3 to 5 hours. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace this. I'll put some Teflon tape on here, replace this fitting so it stops leaking all over my garage. And we should be good for now. Okay, so we got the nipples threaded. We got the fitting on there. Tightening it up by hand with the pliers. I would have shown you me struggling with the pipe wrench trying to get the nipple off, but I'm not set up to be hands-free, and I definitely needed 2 hands for that. So this is actually gravy in comparison to that. can see that the nipple's turning a little bit too, tightening it inside the water heater. So I'm just gonna get it snug. I don't want to over tighten it. I don't think it'll leak. I'm gonna let it sit. I'm gonna let this stuff dry. Let this stuff dry for about 3 to 5 hours before I fill up the tank. So I'll turn the camera on again when I'm ready for that step. Okay, so we gave the True Blue here about 4 hours to dry. So I think we're safe to turn the water on and test to see if the leak is gone. So get that going. That's good. This got our hose going to the outside. There's nothing coming out yet. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to let that run a little bit, let it flush out. I don't know if that's going to help at all. And then I'll cut this off. After a few minutes, I'll cut this off here so we can start to fill the tank. And then we can see if we're leaking. Okay, so I ended up flushing it again because there was a lot of rust-colored water that was coming out of it. So I decided to give it another flush again. So I let it fill up all the way to the top, and then I shut the water off again, and then let all the water out, let it drain all the way out, give it a good flush, and that did the trick because it was coming out clear by the time I was done. So everything went pretty good. All right, so we're just about done. I went and gave it another flush of the system, so I let it fill all the way up, and then I let all the water out until it ran clear, because I noticed there's a little bit of rust coming out. The water had a little bit of a copper tint to it, so it's running clear now. I let it fill all the way up, and I can tell because you can't hear the water running anymore. It's kind of quiet now. So I'm going to turn the power back on and wait for it to heat up. As you can see, no water. And you can hear the heaters heating up. No water, bone dry, just like I like, just what we want. It scratched up a little bit, small price to pay. Getting that fitting off was a pain, so I had to scrape it up a bit, but that's okay. This water heater is about 10 years old. It's over 10 years old, so I got more than my money's worth for it. This was a very small, easy repair. It took me about an hour, all put together, minus trips to Home Depot and YouTube searches and things like that. In regards to that, this is not a tutorial on how to do this properly. I just want to make sure I point that out. I am not a plumber. I'm just a homeowner looking to save a few bucks. This video is really to give any homeowners out there some confidence that, yeah, you can do this. And these are the steps and some of the problems. Everyone's going to have different problems. They're going to run into different things. I ran into this. This came off. This was a hard time to come off. But I'm sure a lot of people have that same problem. And like I said, I fixed it by drilling a hole, putting an Allen key through it, and used the pipe wrench so the pipe wrench wouldn't slip, and that seemed to give me enough torque. And I just whacked it with a rubber mallet until the thing loosened up. Yeah, and that's it. I'm sure that the real plumbers out there will flame me in the comments section. So look in the comments section for tips on how to do this better. But it went, all in all, I'm happy. Things went good. If you don't have the tools, I mean, you could do this whole project with the tools and parts for way under $100, depending on the tools you get. So but to be smart for next time, this is what I'm going to start doing. I put the date and the maintenance that I did, so I'll remember for next year. I'll have to do the same thing. I have to be a good homeowner. All right, that's it for now. Good luck, and we'll see you next time.